And we're live. Hey guys, welcome back to Whiskey Charlie, the War Game Chat, our monthly show on YouTube. I'm your host, Mo from Mo's Game Table, and joining me tonight are my co-hosts, everybody's favorite Gimp with the Limp, the Gimpy Gamer, Nate Rogers. How's it going, Nate?
Another glorious day in the core, man.
And you got a mic, not a headset tonight, I noticed.
Yeah, trying new shit. Got to let the fans see the beauty in all its glory.
Oh, so why is your wife not on the show then?
Because she's doing what she's told, putting the kids to bed. And all that good shit.
And we have the notorious wargaming wizard from Oz. From Oz, not Waz.
Was from
And I don't even have any Canadian iced tea right now. But we've got the wargaming wizard from Oz, Kev Sharp from the big board. How's it going, Kev?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling a little punchy tonight, so I better watch out.
Yes, I think we all are. It's just, I don't know. It's just this time change. And then the past couple of weeks, it always takes a few weeks to get caught up in that. And then, of course, went to the con and, Compass Expo and didn't get as much sleep every night and stuff like that. So it's like, it all kind of rolls into one thing. It takes about a month to, I think, get adjusted with this time change. Hopefully they just do away with it or find one and stick with it year round, because I'm tired of going back and forth.
Yeah, I'd rather it be the other way. Let's get rid of this fallback crap. I hate it getting dark early. I'd rather have a little more sunlight in the evenings.
Agreed.
You could get up earlier.
Screw that.
No, I'm not getting up early. I mean, I know we got the same amount of daylight we're always going to have, but I'd rather have it later in the evening than early in the morning.
This is true. So what's been new with you, Kev? I know you got a lot of stuff going on with your house. You're getting some progress, huh?
Rumor has it we're laying or dropping concrete tomorrow morning, 5 a.m.
Ooh, 5 a.m.
170 yards of concrete.
Wow.
So fingers crossed.
That'll be great, hopefully. And then how's the weather going to be there for the next few days? So that way you can carry it.
It's raining right now.
That's not good.
No, so I'm expecting it to get canceled, but we'll see. I live in hope, eternal hope. Yeah, so.
Well, hopefully it will, and hopefully it'll, cure nice and successfully. There won't be any problems, and
you can slap a frame up.
Another step ahead in this long odyssey of getting your abode all correctly done and get your war game space in order and everything, so that way you're not living in this temp thing that you're living in now.
Oh, it's special right now. I can tell you
that. It is, but it's also crimped your war game style a bit.
Just a tad, yeah.
Especially when stuff gets knocked over or blown around, right?
Oh, jeez. I found a counter on the floor yesterday. I was like, where did that come from? I didn't even know what game it's from. I was like, oh, jeez. It's a mess. Anyway, it's all good. Mm-hmm. Life is good. Can't complain.
So I know, Nate, you have a holiday, two holidays this week. We got Thanksgiving on Thursday. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody, number one. And but prior to that, you have a birthday, don't you?
Actually, there's been two recently.
Two?
My own was the 14th.
You don't count. The other one's the important.
I always count. Yeah, my little boy's turning 8
tomorrow. You know that I already wished you happy birthday, but your little boy, right?
Yep. And he's turning 8 tomorrow. He's very excited. And Uncle Mo was gracious enough to help out with a little birthday surprise for the little man, which he will say thank you for tomorrow. Like I said, we didn't want to spoil that for him just yet. So we're going to be setting up that. Actually, I think I'm going to set up the telescope tonight when I get off with you guys.
Well, can he hear you?
No, he's inside.
Okay.
What if he's watching online? In 10 seconds, he's going to know.
He's going to come right.
I hope not, because he knows how to hop onto this stuff.
Yeah, I know he does. He's smart.
Yeah, he's excited for it. It was between that and he kept bugging us. He wanted a robot. I forget what the hell that thing's called. A Moby or a
Roomba?
Mo. What the hell is that? It's a little desk robot. Something. I forget what the hell it's called. But we looked it up and it's like $400 and it's on back order for like 6 months. So we're like, we love you, buddy, but we don't love you $400 worth. So we'll have to go with the telescope for now.
So what you're saying is there's a price tag on your love for your kid. Got it.
Well, it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't his birthday right now. And then, weeks down the road, we got Christmas. And then a week after Christmas, we got Kenna's birthday. So we've got 3 big gift giving events all within roughly a month. So we try to kind of space things out a little bit so we don't get hit all at once.
This is Mo, who has no children, right? Speaking. So
Don't hate on the man.
Now, I go ahead and I do. We have something similar in July. We have there's a John saying that your headphones match your shirt. They're just a little bit lighter blue, but they do match the shirt.
Yeah,
And July is our tough one because that's middle of the summer, and that's when everybody's like, "Oh, you're going to go to WBC or you're going to go to CSW, whatever." It's like, well, in July, I've got anniversary. 6 days later is my wife's birthday, and then 13 days later is my birthday. So it's like vacation and presents and everything are all in that 1 month, just slammed all at once. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't have time to go anywhere else. So it's just, the timing just doesn't work.
Well, speaking of which, not trying to change what you're talking about, but this is what kills me about companies launching Kickstarters right now. If I were a company, I would never launch a Kickstarter in November or December because people's spending money has already been spent, right?
Yeah.
They just do not have the available capital to spend on the luxuries. Right. If I'm going to launch something big, I'm going to do that in February, March, April, time when people maybe have like tax returns coming to them, especially these luxury goods. And I did a couple of videos talking about that HeroScape game because it bombed. It didn't even get halfway to its goal, even though being a legacy game like it was, it should have easily reached its goal, but they didn't have the painted minis. The price tag was $250 just to get in, and by the time you pay taxes and shit for it, you're looking at close to $300.
$250 for what?
For the game, the HeroScape. There was no pledge levels.
Yeah,
it was
that's
one level.
Yeah,
and it was $250. It was basically the only thing they offered was all in.
Was that the one that Hasbro did?
Yes.
Yeah, and proved that Hasbro really. Yeah,
I think that might have been just slap at Hasbro, number one, and number two. I think we're all kind of tired of the buy $500 worth of minis bullshit. It's kind of getting old, right?
It is.
Yeah. And it wasn't worth what they were offering. The miniatures didn't look good. They were in these garish neon colors, and they weren't painted like the previous versions had been. And I could deal with it not being painted. I'll paint my own shit. But you're hitting it with everything all at once. All these bad decisions. You only have the one level, being far too expensive. The minis aren't painted. They don't look good anyway. And then it's right here at Christmas. So people just don't have the spending money. They're going to want to have that money for Black Friday, for buying Christmas gifts, for getting things they need.
That's a really good point, Nate. I think folks, probably the first week in November is the latest you can really have a Kickstarter, right? And then after that, everyone's like, okay, I'm out. I got to save up for sales. I don't really buy very much in October at all because I know that everyone's going to have their sales. I'm just going to wait and see what pops up and rummage around a little bit.
Well, see, there's another company that did something similar in the fact, you guys know the Heroes of Might and Magic board game that just released? Okay. I actually did another video talking about that because they engineered it that there were cheap pledge levels, but there was really no reason to get those. They had like a 75 level, 125 level, and then 175 level. And really people were pigeonholed into getting these 175 level because of the way they did the expansions for the game. And that had to do with the way battles worked. In the cheaper versions, you had a 3x5 lane, right? That's it. Small, tiny battlefield to operate off of. But on the 175 and up, you got this big hex grid. So a nice battlefield to play on. But that was only included in that 175, but you had to have the minis to play it. So the cheapest you could get out is if you got the $120 one and added the battlefield, it would come up to about $150. So if you've already spent that, there's no reason not to spend the few dollars more to just go ahead and get the extra expansions at the 175 level. And that's what I meant, that the game looks good, looks like a nice game. I like everything they're doing with it. But if they had offered standees, they could have had a much cheaper game that offered the same experience across all the pledge levels versus pigeonholing people into buying the most expensive version of the game.
Well, you always offer the standee. Well, not always, but you could always offer the standees because all sales is psychological. You want the person to feel obligated or feel that they're going to miss out. They want to have FOMO. They want to have what everyone else is having. People will see the standees and go, okay, yeah, I can play that game. That's a whole game. Yeah, but those minis look really good for an extra $100. And
Right.
but that's the thing. That's what you do. You
upgrade
draw them in that way. You draw them in, let
Upgrade.
them upgrade themselves. Exactly.
You're missing my point. I'm fine with taking a downgrade in components by having standees versus minis.
Yeah.
What I'm not fine with is having a downgrade in gameplay.
Oh, yeah.
Expansions are fine if they add to what already exists. But if it changes it to a better experience, then that doesn't need to be paywalled behind it. If you're initially releasing the game, the best experience of the game needs to be in the core box. And then everything else adds on to that. Now, if you release an expansion later on, months down the road that adds something new, okay, that's fine. But you can't paywall off a section of the game that's better and say, well, you got to pay more for this version of the game.
That's because they've gotten so used to people spending the money. They don't think anything of, well, not they don't think anything, but they have been going, yeah, okay, it's $200-$300. I'll even go up to 500, in some cases 1,000, because Kickstarter backers are really foolish, in my opinion, because if you're patient and you wait till it comes out on retail, you're going to get it cheaper 98 to 99% of the time.
Not really.
Unless it you wait for the sales and you'll get it cheaper.
Cool Stuff Inc. and places like that. And then you've got the, you may miss a couple of special.
You wait for somebody else to buy it and then go, man, this game's crap. And then they sell it to you for like half off. Because most Kickstarter games end up being crap anyway.
Some of them are crap, but some of them aren't. And if it's something you really want, like
very small minority end up good.
The Elden Ring. I don't know if you guys are big into Elden Ring, but I love Elden Ring. The FromSoft games. You might not be into it, but they just released their Kickstarter. It actually launched today. And I'm like, oh, it looks awesome. It's Elden Ring. So cool. But it's at fucking Christmas, just like everything else. What the hell are you doing? Like, launch it sometime else. And I'm sitting here like, okay, maybe I just put $1 towards it and, pay for it later. And I'll worry about it after Christmas. But I actually forgot before. If you guys remember that, I forgot with Most Fearful Sacrifice. And I actually didn't finish that one off. And I don't know anyone at FromSoft to go back and unscrew up that mistake. So I just wish these people would make better decisions. Launch them some other time. Don't launch it at Christmas time, and offer the whole experience up front. You can have whatever bonuses you want, your FOMO shit, but don't microtransaction this. Don't turn it into a phone game by paywalling off the better parts.
Right. Well, that's why you should buy Hex and Counter games, buddy, instead of all this.
Yeah, stick with the war games.
Dude. I was actually going to mention to you guys, there's another one. I know I'm talking a lot of Kickstarters, but SAS Rogue Regiment is a prototype that I just got sent, and it's based off the old Commandos type games, right? You got a handful of special operators, and they're trying to accomplish whatever the mission is. And I was playing that earlier today, and it is freaking awesome. There's mechanics to handle all the aspects of the AI patrolling. Right. So, how you play a video game like that and the AI patrols around, they've got sight lines, and you can try to sneak around to knife them or accomplish your objective and stuff like that. It's all in the board game, and it's established really well. I think they've done a good job of this. You've got bodies you've got to worry about, right? So if you take out a German, you can't just leave his body lying right there on the road. Someone will see it. It'll alert, cause the other guys to alert, and they'll start searching for you. The game is just freaking awesome, and it's square encounter, not hex encounter, but same difference, same point. And this one is amazing. I definitely recommend people checking that one out. It releases on the 29th of this month, and it is 100% going to be well worth it. And it's got no minis, so it's not going to be overly expensive. This one will be well within the affordable category, and it's got plenty of content right there in the box. So
no minis.
Didn't this have a Modern Warfare version of it, and then this is either a second title, or did they pivot? Because this looks familiar. This is a French company, right?
You're thinking of V Commandos, and that company was Triton, and they are a French company. That was a different game, and I played that one, but this one, the SAS Rogue Regiment, is better. Because I did not like the way that stealth was handled in V Commandos. It was based on the tiles, and the small tiles gave you a chance of maintaining stealth, but you had no chance on bigger tiles. And it was the same thing with combat. It was abstracted to a point that it didn't feel very thematic. This actually feels very good as you're playing it. It makes sense as you're hiding behind walls, ducking into trees, crouching down, that type of gameplay. You can actually maintain stealth through the entire mission if you're very, very careful and make good decisions and, get lucky at a few points.
It might be okay. I might check it out just out of curiosity, but it looks, it does have the squares, but it almost looks like you're controlling your characters off their character board.
Well, yeah, there are
like
character boards.
Yeah, I mean, like a hobby game, not like a war game. Is what I'm saying.
It's going to lean in between war game and generic hobby type game. Mm-hmm. You have the character boards that have their weapons that they have, so bear traps, pistols, submachine guns, explosives, grenades, all that type of stuff. Certain characters have certain abilities, like the ability to climb or the ability to set C4. And the C4, or a TNT, I should say, is handled really well in this game. It's actually a card, and you can set that card anywhere in the event deck down to 20 cards deep. And that's how many turns later the TNT will go off. So it's like you're setting the timer later so you can have your time to get out, right? So you can set it for the next turn, or you can set it for 20 turns from now, whichever way you want to go with it. Really, really cool. You can set your bear trap. It'll take out the enemy. If you're able to, you can grab the corpse, hide it in some trees, grab the bear trap, reset it, and take and use it somewhere else. It's really useful trying to take out the enemies that patrol around the map. They have, specific lines on the map that they'll patrol around. So you know where they're going to be, but not exactly when they're going to be there.
True, that's a good point. And I agree with Jeff saying, pretty sure it's hex and counter area movement from here on out in my world. Got this in, and I know also
you were
Kev
about
got
that
it as well. Yeah,
I got that in as well. Yeah.
You sound so excited. You're like, I got that in as well.
I got it in. Yeah. Sorry. I just
sound like you're going to a funeral.
I was thinking about Rogue Regiment. So, and you got that as well.
Yeah, I got the SAS. Not the SAS. I'm sorry, the Rhodesian Bush War.
No, okay. So, is this one of those
book games?
Okay. All right.
But
tell us about it.
It's got little mappy poos.
Right.
And it's got hex and counter aspects to it. Not aspects. It's a hex and counter game, but it has counters as well. And I'll see if this shows up. It's
so
always
it's kind of an
jacked up.
arts and crafts game.
It is a bit of an arts and crafts game. You have your option of either just putting the maps down and like using whatever you want to write on it, or you can use cubes or other counters in place of it, and then write on the sheet to track, or just make your own counter. And what he's going to do is Joe's going to do is he said he's already submitted the PDF to BGG, so that way you can craft it yourself right off the PDF. So you don't have to tear apart your game, or the book, which I like.
Right.
So
couldn't you just scan it and print it?
You could, but the thing is, I've always found with some of these books now, like, this isn't too bad. I mean, the counters don't take up the entire sheet. They have good size margins. I don't know if this is going to show. Probably won't.
Looks like high gloss too, though.
No, this is regular paper. The gloss is on the cover only. The gloss is the cover. They are gloss, but they're like they're not high gloss. But you can scan these and then print them out. With this one, it wouldn't be too bad. But I like having the PDF so I don't have to mess with scanning stuff and printing it out. I can just download it and print it and make my own counters and be done with it. But it looks real interesting because it comes with, let me see, I think it's 10 scenarios. And if I can get to this, 10. It goes 10 scenarios and pretty decent number of scenarios, 25 meters each hex. And the counters are fire teams, 2 and 4 man units. So we're not talking full squads or anything. So it really does drill down, and I think that's going to be kind of neat. And if you notice, let's see if this shows up again here, module 1, he's planning on doing more modules. So I talked to him after I got it. I says, hey, what else do you have planned? And he says he's got other games already in the process of being worked on. in the hopper that he wants to hear back from people, see if number one, if the game takes off, and if people like it and what the feedback is, and then he can tweak from there. So
wait, is this the guy named Tom?
No, Joe.
Okay.
Joe Fernandez.
Okay, I was thinking someone else.
Yeah, he has a Facebook page, Art of War Games. So you can go check that out. This is available on Amazon. It's $20 and it'll ship real quick. I mean, I ordered it on Friday and I got it on Sunday. So 2 days.
Is it print on demand?
I believe so. I believe it is. I'm not sure if they do print on demand that quick. They may have had small stock in hand ready to go or what, but I like the idea of it. And the other thing I like about it is it's the Rhodesian Bush War, and there's really not a lot of games out there on that subject. So it covers the Selous Scouts, and it's not something you see. There is another game that I did pick up recently, re-picked up, because I had this years ago. See if that shows.
Oh, yeah.
The old RPG, Merc. Yeah. So maybe I'll try to dig into that a little bit. I had it like in the 80s, like in the early 80s when it first came out, and somebody is still printing it. So they've got that and the 2 supplements for $20. So I was like, yeah, I'm buying it.
That's a cool deal.
Yeah, you can't beat it. And I was like, oh, this would be kind of, and you could tell it's a product of its time by reading the way it's written and all the stuff. It's very heavily influenced by Soldier of Fortune magazine, which back in the day was pretty much the only way that you'd hear about the Bush Wars. Anything in the Congo and all was all covered in SOF. So it's kind of,
that looks kind of like Jagged Alliance.
No, it's very much an RPG of in the early 80s style. And it's pretty neat. It's a cool subject matter, and not a lot of stuff will cover modern era mercenaries. All the time they do mercenaries, it's space or some other stuff.
Yeah, I think somebody wrote half a dozen scenarios in a General's Magazine article for Firepower that covered the SAS and the Rhodesian Bush Wars and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a great subject.
Hard to find.
It's a very under game subject too. I mean, I do have, I've got South Africa, which I picked up because I had that originally years and years ago. Got that one. I got World War Africa. And then I have Descent into Hell about Liberia, about the Liberian Civil War. And that I've always been interested in that subject. That one is really an odd one because it's such a terrible war and a terrible situation. I mean, they had kids fighting. These guys are running around naked, like thinking that their juju is going to protect them from bullets. And it was just all kinds of, there was cannibalism involved and everything. It was just a really, really weird and crazy war that was going on. And to see the documentaries that are out there about it now, that are out, you can go on YouTube and check them out. It's like so sad and tragic, but at the same time fascinating that, people can be like this. And it's just interesting. There's so many interesting conflicts over there because there've been so many where nations have, risen and fallen and changed names and everything else that I think one of the best ways to learn it is by gaming, because then you get to see the perspectives involved, which somebody was talking about the other day. Do you like playing the good guys or bad guys? Can you play the bad guys?
Right.
And like I said, whichever side you're playing is a bad guy to the other guy. So we're all playing bad guys technically when we play a war game.
Yeah.
When it comes to war, people believe the strangest stuff. I mean, when we were deployed, the Iraqis believed that to be in the Marines, you had to kill your mother with your belt. You had to, no joke. They were telling us about how they've been told by the regime that we were bad people because to join the Marine Corps, you had to strangle your own mother to death with your belt as a way to prove your loyalty. Hey, we perpetuated it because we were like, it just makes them more scared of us.
The game, I Am Manatee, is Guadalcanal, the battle for Henderson Field, 1942 to 43. Yeah. I just did a video of it on my channel today, and it is printed or done by War Diary magazine.
Yeah, and it looks pretty interesting. It's a reimagining of the Avalon Hill Guadalcanal, which only had one print run. So it's got lots of nostalgia value, and it's been updated a little bit. I think the artwork is obviously much better than the original version. And some I haven't looked at it in detail. I've read the rules and looked at the maps. I probably would have done the maps a little bit differently, but just in terms of where the cuts are and stuff like that. But it looks pretty interesting. I'm keen to get it on the table.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. And you're talking about the White Tribe, I think, Demi, is what he's talking about there. Jester got his Skies Above Britain today. Didn't get there late. I know you've been waiting for your GMT orders. What are we told about our enemies? They're the bad guys. Go kill them.
They make good bullet sponges.
Yeah. It depends. I mean, I think all militaries tell their militaries the same thing. Well, some do, I guess, make it a little more personal, but generally, you other your opponent.
Yeah,
your
you have to dehumanize them.
Yeah, they're a target. They're not a person.
Yeah, you do that in every war. If you think about it, I mean, World War II, they called the Germans Krauts. You know, the Vietnam, they called them Charlie. We called them Hajis. It didn't matter. You had to take away the fact that that was somebody's brother, father, whoever it was, because you couldn't really be thinking that when you're out there doing your stuff. Otherwise, it'll, kind of not let you do your job.
That's a great point.
Another point.
That's a great point that Tim brings up. Last two items I bought were print on demand. They're marked on the last page. That's a great catch there, Tim. I really appreciate that, because I opened it up and it says made in the USA, Coppell, Texas, 18 November 2022. So it was print on demand and it was made local. I mean, it's like I could have drove over and picked it up. That's why I got here so fast.
Well, speaking of those book games, I actually tried recently that Lone Sherman game by Mike Lambo. And I was rather pleased with that. It was nice, streamlined. I think if I remember right, it had 11 scenarios in it, counters in the back of the book. So you could do the same thing, print them out, make your own, use stand-in counters, or even a neat idea I saw someone talk about is take a picture with your iPad or phone and then use a stylus to draw on it. That way you could just have your own e-map. And the game worked really well. He had, like I said, he had it nice and streamlined. When you opened up to whatever scenario it was, the map was on the right side and all the rules and stats were on the left. And it was arranged in the order of the sequence of play. So you literally just go to the top of the page down to the bottom and then just keep doing it until you're done with your mission. Really cool game. The only thing you had to slide with your dice.
He's got really good layouts in his games and his books. And his, I just shot a video for this one here, Men of War, and I was talking about that. I said I started off. I know a lot of other people have been doing book game coverage. I haven't done any.
Yeah.
I got the ones from Worthington. I thought they were very well produced. Just left me wanting. I wasn't really impressed. Got a couple of Mike's games, and his game books, really liked them. I just haven't done any videos on them. And then I got this one because it was such a unique subject. I wanted to, and it just came out. I wanted to shoot a video on it. And I think really he's the best right now. And that is, I don't know where Joe's going to fit in there as far as how he's going to compare until I play. But I would say Mike Lambo's got the best, book games there are out there right now.
It's an interesting trend. I think do you think it's a reaction to the cost of production or the fact that they can punch them out quicker, or it's a combination of that, or it's something
War Against Darkness?
I think that's a good point. I mean, I really think it's the production costs, and it makes it easier. Like you, me, or Gimpy, any of us come up with an idea for a war game. Hey, I can do this I can either print this out and do it as like a magazine style game, where you've got the counter sheet and you've got your map and whatever, your rules and all, or I could actually do it in a book like this and just include the maps, include the counters. I don't have to pay any production cost as far as getting the counters made or anything. Let people do it themselves, but I also give them an option on how to do it without the counters. They can use pennies, move them around the map or whatever to, identify the units by, or just write on it. And I keep the scenario short, sweet, to the point, and you get that little system going. You can crank out 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 books. Right. And your margin's going to be better. Yes.
Right. Margins are better. And I think you're not relying on selling 500 or 1,000. And, if it doesn't, it doesn't sell well, you move on to the next.
There's
title.
no investment; it's print on demand.
Right. Versus having 300 stuck in the warehouse, you've got to sell for 60% off because you had to bite the bullet. Yeah, it's curious. Do you find that the ones you've played, both of you, do you find the ones you've played are they? I'm obviously not trying to compare them to like OCS or anything like that, right? Or anything super detailed, but at a tactical level. I think most of them are tactical, right? So if you're playing them, A, are they thematic, and B, is there narrative, and C, does it give you some sort of level of realistic appreciation? My wife is going to die any minute now, so we're just when she does, I'll raise a flag and we'll have a moment of silence, and then we'll go from there. She's not having a good night tonight, so
now when
tell
the wine glass comes smashing into the
yeah, no, she doesn't drink, so there's been no wine glasses thrown.
When the juice glass comes crashing in,
I might get a juice glass to the head. Yeah.
No, I'll tell you, the one I played, narrative. No, I mean, you could play the scenarios as a campaign if you wanted to, but really not a whole lot of story to it. But as far as the gameplay, thematic, I like the tactical depth to it. Without getting long-winded on it, there was a number of dice you would roll to get your actions for the turn, but you had to make smart decisions with those dice. And there was a luck factor to it because the dice rolls could be bad, but he did build in a little bit of a mechanic to help negate that, to give you some choice if the dice didn't go exactly the way you wanted it to go. But even in the little example playthrough I did, the choices made sense, right? You know, I'm going to move forward. I'm going to try to keep my tank pointed towards the enemy. So I've got the strongest armor pointed towards the biggest threat, mitigate the damage that could be done to me. I don't want to drive my tank into the mud. That's going to slow me down. If I go into the city, I get a defensive bonus and the trees block line of sight for one of the enemies, you know, stuff like that. So it had real good hex encounter type gameplay squeezed down into a single page. So especially if you're someone who goes out on like business trips a lot, something like this would be great to scratch that tactical itch.
Yeah, that's cool. Interesting. What do you think?
You can even play it on like an airplane. If you're just going to play out of the book, you could play it out of the airplane. Just get like one of those sheets, those map overlay acetate paper or whatever you call it. Just stick it over there, get a marker, and just mark on it while you're playing, so that way you don't ruin the pages. And that's what I was doing with the Worthington books, but the Worthington books were kind of like they were very narrow. It just felt like the game play was fairly thin in those, and it wasn't bad. It was just kind of repetitive.
Yeah, no offense to Worthington, but that's
no.
That's a lot of their titles, though.
It is, you know, but great production quality. They always do have great production quality. That's for sure. But as far as like Mike's games, the narrative is created in your head. I mean, it's all theater of the mind. How much are you going to get into it? The games draw me in enough to find them fun. They're a nice little diversion. They're quick little games you can knock out in 20 minutes. You can take longer if you want to, but they're fairly fast moving. And I think when I get into a game like that, first time I'm just concentrating on, okay, am I doing it right? Okay, great. Now, next time I play it, I'm going to start going, okay, well, Kev's moving up the left and Gimpy's moving up the right. I'm going to sit here and let those guys get hosed, and then I'll find out where the bad guys are and I'll shoot them. I just create narratives like that, but and it's fun. And for what they are, $20, $15. I mean, they're a good option to have, I think. And I like the addition of having the counters. So I think they'll just improve over time.
You're not going to get a Most Fearful Sacrifice level of gameplay out of a $15 book game.
Yeah, of course not. And that's where I'm curious, right? So, you know, Mo and I were you on the thread as well? We were chatting about someone saying that, you know, games need to be Euro games, non-war games need to be simpler and simpler, and 4 pages of rules and be played within 15 minutes and all this sort of stuff. And
I read over what you guys were talking about earlier.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you were on that thread. So how fascinating and engaging that game was. You know, that for me, that's not what I'm interested in. I was curious about these games and why they're being made, whether it's, like I said, cost or profitability, or the ability to be more dynamic with, you know, instead of taking 2 years to develop something, you can once you get a system down, you can really build anything, right? And you can build any scenario for anything. So that's kind of nifty, and it's a cool framework. So there's a lot of value there. But I just wonder if there yet another opportunity for a gateway style game to get people into wargaming who would go, oh, okay, this is interesting and this is cool.
Yeah.
It only cost me $15 or $20, so I could try it. Now, what do I play next, or what do I do next? And then, Nate, you brought up Rogue Regiment, right? I mean, that looks like a very approachable, solid game versus, say, something like, Point Blank is pretty involved, convoluted game. It's not a beginner's game, but it's a card-driven game, and it kind of looks like it might be approachable, but it's probably not as approachable as something like Rogue Regiment, for instance, right? So,
Jeff,
Rogue Regiment has 6 pages of rules.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and that's what these are. They're like 4 to 6 pages in that realm, size. So they're good for anybody who's curious about a hex encounter game. They could get into it. They would understand it in a easier, in a gateway format, and get something out of it and go, okay, this isn't as bad as I thought. And then they can hopefully get some advice or get someone to show them, because if they go from that and say, oh yeah, well, this is pretty cool. Okay, what's this OCS thing everybody keeps talking about? It's like, oh, walk before you run.
I think it's just gaps in the market, right? It's whatever people are willing to spend their money towards. And like I said, For Against Darkness had a huge following, still does. D100 Dungeon, that type of gameplay. And I think naturally, Wargamer designers saw that and decided to start churning out some stuff in a similar vein. But we've always had games along that avenue. I mean, what was the name of that company? Dark City Games, I think it is. I covered one of their games recently. He sent me, it was called Guadalcanal, and it was smaller. The rule book was a pamphlet, had the rules at the front, the scenarios at the back of it, just one double-sided map, basically. The counters were one sheet of cardstock that you had to actually cut yourself. It wasn't punched in any way. Right. That type of gameplay, but it was still deep. There were actual decent rules to it. You didn't buy that game for the components, right? You bought that game for the gameplay itself, but it wasn't overly expensive. It gives people multiple avenues to get their gameplay. If they want the AAA experience, they can go to Academy Games. If they want something smaller, they can go to Dark City or Mike Lambo's stuff. It's just like anything else. There's going to be multiple different levels of it.
Plus, it gives a designer a chance to design and work out the bugs out of any system that they've got created, and they get to express it right away, get to put it out there with little risk, no risk almost, or pretty much no risk, and see if they get a following. If they get a following, now they've legitimized their name and their design skills, so that way they can shop it then to maybe not that game, maybe they've got a big system that they want to say based on this that has got 25 or 50 pages of rules that they want to go to one of the big publishers with. Now they've got a portfolio. They've got proven sales behind them. So it makes it easier for them to market themselves.
So I don't know why someone hasn't, and I think the only company I've seen that's done it is Pratzen Editions. They have the Flight of the Eagles, I think it's called, Vol the Eagle or something like that. Anyway, they've got these, it's a card-based game. All your units are a card, and then you transfer that onto a battlefield, but you're playing off of maps, and it's kind of writing your orders type of thing. But my point is that they basically have given you every single army. Is she gonna die? No. Every single army.
She wants attention.
And every campaign, sort of the armies for those campaigns, and some maps and stuff. I don't know why someone hasn't come up with a way, kind of like as a generic hex and counter game system, to sell a set of counters for Napoleonics, for instance, or for the American Civil War, for instance, or American Revolutionary War. And just here's a generic set of counters, and people build systems around them and have maps and have a basic rule book or framework, and let people sort of get after it and be creative, kind of like with the book format that you're talking about. But you buy a kit, and it's a kit, and then you can work out how to do what if battles or recreate little skirmishes because X division or brigade was somewhere at some time.
That would be cool.
I just think it'd be interesting to be able to just do something like that and say, okay, well, I want to recreate the battle of what am I doing to Auerstadt or Jena right now? Like I want to recreate that, but I don't want to go build a game from scratch. So give me the formations, give me all the historical order of battle, kind of like the Iron Curtain that Carl did, right? Carl Fong did with the 3 different sets of units from 3 different eras.
For the World War III game,
that Iron Curtain game. So he's got one map, set of counters, a basic set of rules. Someone could build a really cool Third World War game off the back of that if they wanted to.
They could, you really could. Yeah, something like that would be good. And it's funny up here. Where was it here? I want to see. It was a comment being made. Oh yeah. Stigler says this motley lot would be a great prize for the federal authorities to scoop up all at once. Why would we get scooped up? I will have you know, good sir, that I am a citizen. I've done my part. Have you?
Yeah.
Would you
How many
like to know
bugs have
more?
you killed?
Exactly. Citizenship has privileges.
Oh, I'm not a citizen. I need to work that out.
No, we know where I'm going with that, right? Starship Troopers movie.
Although we're heading towards that future now.
Yeah. Oh my God. So Kurt says, don't tell the wife I'm watching Whiskey Charlie instead of prepping for Thanksgiving. This is prepping for Thanksgiving. We're talking about war games we can play over the 4-day weekend, which we've been kind of talking all around. But
don't talk about
get to that.
prepping.
This is emotional support for Thanksgiving.
Yes. Right. It's emotional support for Thanksgiving prep.
Yeah. I have to spend all day tomorrow cooking.
You have to spend all day tomorrow cooking.
What are you going to cook? What are you making?
She's pretty, but she don't cook. Right? That's she don't cook with a damn.
You're ugly and you do, so that's a good combo, right?
So tomorrow I got to get my potatoes prepped and stuff like that because I got to do the turkey baking on Thursday, and anything that I can get done ahead of time. Because turkey baking, not
baking. I thought you said baiting.
No, I've got a real nice way I bake my turkey. I stuff it full of butter, I juice it up, and then I wrap it in bacon and let it baste. And then I use that bacon grease as part of my base for the turkey gravy. Comes out, really, really, really nice. But I got to do my homemade macaroni and cheese, homemade mashed potatoes, homemade sweet potato casserole, and something else I'm doing besides the turkey.
Why are you not videotaping this and putting it on your channel?
Why would I put that on my channel? It's a wargaming channel, not, Martha Stewart living. What the hell am I going to be putting up there?
You can do the video.
Gimpy's gourmet living.
The galloping Gimpy gamer. Like the galloping gourmet.
I'll tell you what.
Gimpy.
We've actually been talking about starting a separate channel, like a talk channel. And we filmed the first part of it the other day, and we're calling it A Day at the VA. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Talking about the bad stuff.
That'll be a clusterfuck and a half.
Yeah.
That'll be a half day at the VA is you just sitting there.
No, well, that's part of it. We gave up on one of the appointments because it was too long to wait for it. But at the one that I go to, it's right across from the civilian hospital, which is already ridiculous. But it has 2 parking decks, one of which has been closed for 3 years with them doing nothing with it. And everyone who goes there is supposed to park in that one parking deck. It is never empty. You always have to fight to find a spot. And even the employees hate it. But they always schedule everyone to come because they all want to leave by 4 p.m. So all the appointments are from like 12 to 2 is when they'll tell people to get there. And people are literally parked along the street, parked along the edge. You know how parking gets set up to where you can drive around the curves? People will park in the curve, so you've only got enough space for one car to get by at a time. Sorry, I'm not trying to get sidetracked, but that place is freaking horrible. So we were sitting there, and I'm like filming it. She's over in the driver's seat bitching, I hate this place. I hate coming to these appointments. Fuck the VA. I'm like, okay, this is going to be a good video.
That should be great. Now, here's a good question here. Leslie Davis asking, are cards in war games now mandatory? Absolutely not. They're not mandatory, And
But do you see any without cards?
yeah, there's plenty of war games without cards. They don't need cards. Cards can be a good addition if used right. And then there are some that are just completely card driven games, which kind of border on, some of them are war games, some of them are what I call historical board games, more of a strategy game more than a war game. But
U-Boot.
Stop.
I'm going to mute your mic.
It's Kevin's favorite game.
No, but I think you can use, like, this one has cards in it. Guadalcanal, the one we're talking about. There are 9 cards, and you can play, and they have both the US and they have a Japanese event that can happen, and they can kind of trigger off of each other in different ways. So it adds a little friction, which I think is kind of neat, a little chaos.
Yeah.
But
and they always come in at like turn 12 or something like that, or 19 or whatever it is. Yeah.
They're limited in when they come in and when they're used. The Long Road, that has cards, and you can use those for different effects, which is really cool. And speaking of Long Road, the 30th, mark it on your calendars. The 30th is when we're going to, that's what we're shooting for, to finish out that game that we played a couple weeks ago. So should be fun.
I got check. I think I should be able to do that, but I'll check the calendar just to make sure. But we do need to finish that out.
Yes,
because you were right there, ready to be met with my hail of fury.
Your hail of fury. Your turkey basting?
Yes, my turkey basting.
Well,
I mean, Kev got taken out by the zombies.
Yes,
he's being occupied with that.
So well, letting get taken out, but he's getting annoyed by them.
Well, did you see that there was some rules errors made by the designer, and I think we can have a little rollback.
Yeah,
maybe we will. If not, we're gonna have some changes going forward for sure. Because
he's be joining us again.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
He is going to make it. I'll be damned.
Either that, or there better be some reinforcements.
Is he going to read the rule book this time before he does?
Well, it just goes to show even designers don't know their games like the back of their hand. So,
well, we should have known too. I mean, I don't know why I didn't retreat after the freaking assault. Right?
But I mean, that's the fun. That's the fun thing. It makes for good TV. It makes for good video.
Well, it's funny because you just kind of trust the designer too when he goes, this happens, and then you just go, oh, okay.
Okay. No, I was actually talking about this concept on Facebook or comments the other day. I forget where I was mentioning it, but I'm sure you guys have dealt with it. The fact that we're always dealing with multiple war games and having to learn this one after this one after this one after this one, and I have what I call like the bleed over. So you're learning one game and then you're learning another game. And a lot of times I'll confuse the rules between a couple of different games, like the supply or the line of sight or how cover works or whatever it is. One game's rolls into the next game because it all starts to bleed together because the rules are similar, right? Mm-hmm. Like, this chain of supply works just a little bit different than this chain of supply. And you start bleeding over all the rules to the games and it just kind of mashes up together. I'm sure you guys have dealt with that crap.
It's complicated. I know that trying to learn BCS or relearn BCS, I think I did a video on that a couple of days ago about Last Blitzkrieg, and I played that 6 years ago on version 1 rules, and I was playing version 2 rules now, and I had some coaching from people a few months ago, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and I figured, I'll just jump straight back into this. It'll be easy. How hard can it be? Talk about getting my own self wound up around the axle so tight that I popped lug nuts everywhere, and I was getting pissed off and playing it wrong, reset, all this sort of stuff. And then you have that where you've got the innovative, different system, and then you've got systems that are kind of like generic, where you just go, how do I move? How do I fight? How do I do supply? And you skim read the rules and you look for the differences, right? And then you just go, okay, well, this is this. I don't have to read everything, right? I find those games actually a little harder because that's where the bleed, like you say, Gimpy, that's where that bleed happens, right? Whereas BCS, you're deep in the weeds and you've got to slow down and read the rules more carefully and pay attention to the details, which is sometimes a bit frustrating when you're trying to play a game, get it done before people come over for dinner.
Well, that's where, you have the games like that. I end up stalling on. I'll just be like, oh, I want to play this, and then I go, oh man, I haven't played this in a while. All right, let's see if it comes back. All right, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm good. And then I start playing, and I'm like, oh crap, I did that wrong. And I did
You
that
come
wrong.
back 3 days later.
And I did that wrong. And then you're like, oh man, I'm screwing this up. And I was hoping I could knock a game out in an hour or two. Shit. All right. Where's the book game? I can knock that out fast. You do find yourself kind of throwing yourself off. And it's funny, but then you have the other game where you want to sit down and study it and make notes and learn not only the mechanics, but you want to try to think through everything, like 1985 series. That is not a game that you're just going to, hey, yeah, I got an hour before bed. Let me crank out a scenario. Yeah, right. You can crank out a setup, but you're not going to crank out a scenario in an hour. You're really not. You can start.
You couldn't even do a turn in an hour.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't get that done fast. So that's the kind of game where you need to say, I don't have anything on my table for the next week or two. I'm going to just sit down and concentrate on this and play through.
World of War 85? Is it like that for you?
No, 1985.
Oh my God.
Fabrizio's. Yeah.
Sacred Oil.
World of War 85.
Yeah,
no,
shit.
World of War 85 is fairly straightforward. There are some rules you have to remember when you're comparing it to like Nations at War and stuff like that. Like Nations at War, I think is really, really simple, straightforward, and easy to play. World of War 85 is a little more involved.
Yeah. World of War 85 is gummy bears compared to Five Nights at Freddy's with Sacred Oil, man. Huge difference.
Dude. Yeah. So we're planning for April to play Deadly Northern Lights, and we're trying to pick. So it's four of us, so we're going to play a campaign scenario. And I started looking at it. This campaign scenario is 25 turns long, and I said,
"You got a week?
Is there any chance?"
Oh, he's
what's going on?
Technical problems.
Don't yell at her.
She don't start coughing until you start talking.
It wasn't the coughing. She'd just been a good housewife, and I just gotta love her for who she is, the way she is. Okay, but
hey, tell her if you don't treat her right, she can give me a call.
Well, I don't.
Wow,
she's not like you. You're younger, so you got that going for you. She's not into big beards though. Anyway,
so we're looking for a third to fill out Gimpy's empty spot next show because he's gonna be dead. His wife hears this, he's gonna be dead.
Exactly.
Tryouts next week.
So we're doing a 4-player of DNL, right? So I started looking at 25 turns. It's a 4-day, basically a 4-day con or a 4.5-day con. So a day to set up, pretty much. By the time you goof around the evening and whatever. So 3 days. I was thinking, how many turns could we get done in a day? And I don't think we could get more than a turn and a half done. I think we'd get 5 turns or 4 turns done for the whole shooting match. So
are you talking about World War III con?
No, it's that it's Mitch's other con that he does in April.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say if it was World War III, then I was going to say, isn't Fabrizio going to that?
He may be, but it'd be cool. If he was going to, is he going to that? Because if he is, I would go to that.
Think he might. I know Bruce is going for NATO. I think Fabrizio may have said he was going. I'm not sure if Tony's going as well, but that's something to look into because if he was there, I know Eve's going to be there for Red Strike. So
that would speed stuff along.
Yes, if he was going to be there,
all of those games.
There you go. That's going to make it a lot faster.
Interesting. Yeah. So anyway, my point about that was, I think that you are absolutely right that those games, me playing solo, the whole thing, I was getting 1 turn done, basically, every day, right, by myself, and a lot of rule lookups being new to it. So having to coach people and all that sort of stuff would be interesting. So,
if you have to coach people, you might as well just give up on getting any amount of turns done. Yeah. I mean, 5 would be optimistic.
Yeah, they'll still be. I mean, we're going to play January, February. We're going to play on Vassal, and so there'll be some learning prep.
Some prep, yeah.
But it won't. They're not going to be, proficient. They're not going to be expert marksmen, right? They're just going to be guys who are proficient. Right? So
yeah, I mean that is a good point. Is using Vassal as a train up for it because you're still going to have to lay everything out, and then people are going to there's going to be distractions, people walking around, hanging out and talking and stuff like that, which is the only drawback to that. But still, if you can, set down, we're going to play this for 2 or 3 days and that's it. That's all we're concentrating on. In the evening, we can do something else. But during the day, this is our job, to get through that.
It's a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And we'll run. And then evenings we have other sort of fun games.
Sure.
Planned. Yeah.
You play the light games there, now up here, Jeff had pointed out a really good point, which I agree with. He was saying about how chit pull is, if I can find the comment here.
Yeah, I saw what he was talking about.
He was saying about chit pull being his favorite mechanic. And I think chit pull is an amazing mechanic. It's a simple, but amazing mechanic because it alleviates all problems for solitaire players pretty much. And it can be utilized, even if the game does not have it in it. You can actually use the mechanic yourself in any game you want. Like if you're trying to hide units, you just put out a blank marker or a bingo chip or something like that. This is a Japanese unit. We're on Guadalcanal, for example. I'm just moving this unit around. Oh, well, who is it? Now we're engaged. Pull it out of a cup. This is what we're getting. You can even do a die roll where you say, how many units? 1 or 2. Okay, 2 units. And here's the random pull. Holy crap, they're really strong units. I just walked into a massive ambush,
Right.
Or they're 2 idiot units. Who cares? I mean, it's the chance and chaos of combat. And I think that's great. And I also like the fact that they handle all the unit activations. So you can do that for unit activations. You don't have to worry about, well, I'm playing both sides. If I was going to play this side, I probably wouldn't move these guys. But when you do random chit, it's whatever the fates tell you. They're going to get their orders first. They're going to act first. Their commander is quicker to act than the other commanders, whatever. So I think it's
actually
so there's a counterpoint to that though too, right? I mean, is that some folks want to have a little bit more control.
Yes.
And if you're trying to replicate operational art of war and OODA loops and all that sort of fun stuff, then you want that more fine granular control. So then chit pull can really mess with that.
It could, but it could still actually
same with double turns, right?
Yes. I mean, but it could also still kind of play into the OODA loop when you're trying to get inside that decision, space where, okay, I acted. Now maybe chit pull. Do they act? No, they don't. So I continue on. Or, crap, they did. Now they're inside my OODA loop, or something like that. So there are ways to utilize it to randomize a lot of things and make things interesting, and they don't even have to be part of the game. You can use it yourself to make most games solitaire friendly, I think.
Actually, there was a game that I covered recently. I'm finishing editing it together now. And I'm sitting here trying to remember the exact name. It was Call to Victories, the Cry for Victory, something like that. The Chancellorsville campaign. It's a Civil War game. And it operates off a chit pull mechanic, but the chits you pull are the command units. And they have a range listed down on the commander. So wherever you place that chit, you have that range surrounding it, and those are the units you can activate. So it's very similar to Most Fearful Sacrifice in the fact that you draw the card and you're activating your different brigades, except this operates off the chit pull. So same type mechanic where they had colored units and you could only activate units with that color band. They did have a detachment thing, so you could activate a specific stack with it. But I found that worked really well. Same chit pull mechanic that we were just talking about. But now you had that worry, like you had in Most Fearful Sacrifice, of keeping your units together so they didn't lose their cohesion. But this was simulated in the way that you couldn't activate the units if you spread them out too far and they were outside of that command range. So you had to keep them bunched in together within the command range, but you didn't know who was going to activate next, depending on what commander unit got drawn. Really like that. I'm going to have that one up here in a few days when I finish editing the video together.
Nice.
What is LBW? What is he when he says LBW? What is that?
That's Lee Brimacom Wood. That is for the Burning Blue. The
okay.
designer.
I thought I knew the name. I was trying to work out.
And he does great rules. A lot of people really speak very highly of his rules. I need more time to play games. I think that is something I think that's a common thing that we all say. Nobody could replace Gimpy, not even Santa. Well, we might have that problem. to deal with if
Santa's
his
coming.
wife hears his comments.
Well, if my wife.
Oh, I say worse to her.
Yeah, that too. They may have both wives mad at you. But
He's always mad about something.
so what are your plans for Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving weekend. We've got 4 days here where we've got 4 days off, which is going to be great. So, Nate, what are you going to be playing over the holidays?
Well, I am going to be spending some time with Flashpoint campaigns, Southern Storm. I've been moving a lot more into digital games here recently, Matrix and Slytherin stuff. I just got the tutorial video up on that, so you guys make sure you check that out. The game's deeper. You know, it's a hex and counter war game, World War III, and it's got a lot of stuff going on with it. So in this one, when you're activating your units, you're planning out what they're going to do. So you issue orders to your units, go here, do this, you're going to screen or you're going to hold. And once you've established all your orders, you hit carry out, and then your units carry out their orders, the enemy carries out their orders, and then after a 15-minute segment of gameplay, you reissue your orders and keep going back and forth. And I knew that the game was kind of deep, so I actually turned their written tutorial into a video. So I thought they had a really good tutorial for it. You know, written down, go here, push this button. But I thought I would make it simpler by showing you on screen. All right, this is exactly what they're talking about. You're going to go right here. You'll push this button. Here's your keybind. This is what it's going to do. And then walk them through it. Did that for the first part, you know, lining up all the orders. And I'm getting ready to do the second part now where it shows how it operates once you carry out the orders. So real cool game. Looking forward to that. You guys make sure and check out the video. And then other than that, Evil West just released, and I'm going to be playing the shit out of that. Take a couple of days off.
Evil West.
It's a video game about
zombie western.
Yeah, it's a zombie western. You kill zombies and vampires and beat them up with guns and stuff. And it looks cooler now, and I can't wait to spend some time with that. That and me and my little girl are going to be playing a lot of It Takes Two. It's a little cute co-op game, and she's really into it right now.
That's cool.
That and she likes playing Blood Shooters and Teeth, which is the 40K game where you kill people and smash their heads in. Nice. So proud of her.
Nice. What about you, Kev? What are you going to be doing?
Well, tomorrow I'm actually playing PC game with my son, who's still at college, but he'll be coming in later tomorrow. But we're going to do we played this game called Ruse, R-U-S-E. It's just a build shit and blow stuff up game.
Yeah.
And so we'll probably play against AI. And then over the weekend, I've got the 3 battles of the Alamein, or whatever you call it, Napoleonics thing going on. So I've got Auerstadt set up. I think that's how you pronounce it. Someone can correct me in the comments. And that's it at the moment. I have to do some homework on Third World War because I'm playing against a wily opponent on Vassal on Monday nights. And we're not really at the point where we want to do live streaming of that because there's lots of backwards and forwards and mistakes being made. But I'm the Soviets, and it's not going very well. It's only war turn 0. So it's being very much like real life for the Soviets at the moment, or the Russians in this case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's it. What about you?
I will be messing around with Southern Front. Southern Storm. Sorry, Southern Front. Southern Storm. I just got that as well. So I'll be messing around with that. I also plan on checking out Guadalcanal and Men of War. Men of War, I'm really curious about because, like I said, it's the Salute Scouts. So I'm curious to see if this is going to draw me in as much as I'm hoping, because it's such a unique game subject. So I'm hoping that it does. Not only is it a fun system, but it actually captures the flavor of that era and that war. So hopefully it will. And then Guadalcanal, I want to check that out because just got that in as well. A lot of people are asking, hey, get us a review on it. And I'm like, well, I can't review it after playing around with it for a few hours. Even if I get through a full game in one evening, I'd like to play it a few times, but I could always do I learned.
Why not? That's what most reviewers do.
This is true, but
nothing wrong with that if you know what the hell you're talking about.
I'm going to do like Kev does, because I've noticed that when I try to do a proper review, that you put in the time, you have a notebook and you write notes and you bring things up and you talk for 20, well, not 20. I usually end up talking like 30, 40 minutes to try to cover all these things to make sure, I got everything covered. They get no views. They get a few hundred views at most. And I'm like, okay, this isn't worth the effort. So I'm just going to go impressions instead of saying a review. For some reason, I guess that'll probably get more attention and or preview or whatever, and put it in there and let people see it. And I'll just talk about the gameplay because that's what people want to hear anyways, about the gameplay instead of a structured formal review.
No one cares what you scored something, whether you scored something 4 or 7 out of 10.
Well, I don't score anything. I just,
did you like it, right?
Yeah.
Did you like it and why? Like it. Right? Why? What's cool about it? What's not cool about it?
Yeah.
I mean,
people want playthroughs too.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
And the playthroughs, the reason, well, number one is they're time consuming to try to do if you're going to do a playthrough, because when you're going to do a playthrough, you're committing to doing the whole game.
Right.
And you're not. You got to pick the right game, because otherwise people are going to complain. You're playing to a point, but when you're playing a game, people are going to complain, because you have to remember, they're going to complain. You didn't do this right. Didn't do that right. How come you didn't finish the other 23 turns? It's like, well, I gave 5 turns, you know.
They can go do something else. You know, I don't listen to comments anymore. I mean, I love the comments, and everyone's got something to say, and I like to engage with all that. But I don't care if someone says I did. You know, it's nice to know I did something wrong, but I don't care if you don't like it. Go somewhere else, right?
Well,
so
the point of doing a playthrough is to show them enough. You got to show them enough. Hit the highlights of the game. This is the general impression of it. If you play through everything, now if the game's short enough, right, you can play through it normally in half an hour, I'll play through the whole damn thing.
Sure.
But if it's going to take days and days to play through a scenario, I can't devote that much time to it.
No.
But some of them, depending on how long it is, I'll devote a series of videos. Thunder and the East, I did 11 videos on it, showing it, and I didn't get anywhere near finishing the scenario, but I hit the majority of the highlights of it.
Right. And I bet you your view count was probably lower on those than it was on the ones where you just give the, you know, it tapers off. I did 43 videos on Case Blue, right? I mean, you know, so
got 14 views total.
Yeah, right. A couple of thousand for the first one and like 100 for the last one. But people will say they want all this, and people say, well, you didn't play it all the way to the end, so how do you know? If you've played enough war games, you know, I had 63 different gaming sessions this year so far. So even in limited space, when I get to a point where I know that, you know, either the chits aren't going to come my way, or that something's happened or not happened, you know, you're done. One side's done, right? Same way when I played with my buddies. I used to play in Austin. We would agree that I have lost, and that's it, right? And then you're kind of done. Right? You know, you don't grind out just because you want to grind out. That's a waste of time. Life's too short.
It is, unless there is the chance that there's an outside chance that maybe something could happen. Then you might want to game it out a little bit further. But there is a point where you have to say, you know what, we're done. There's really, at this point, if there was a real world situation like this, there would be a ceasefire call, and we'll just call it a ceasefire, and you win, and that's that, you know, and you move on. But
some of them are better for it, right? Like American Tank Case was great for multiple videos.
Oh yeah.
You know, I did 3 videos on it because I could do 3 quick games, which of course I filmed the damn videos, and then they release errata. So everyone's like, well, this is not right. Well, no shit, it's not right, because I filmed it before they released a friggin' errata. So every time I was posting up the link, I was like, filmed prior to errata. Get off my ass.
Modern War in my day was the FT-17. I was thinking more like the Focke-Wulf, but love John.
I mean, you were talking about like 80s gameplay. Well, you were like in 40 or something back in the 80s, right? Grandpa Mo.
Oh, geez, no, Mike watched all those videos. Dude, you need to get alive. Seriously.
Hey, he was being supportive.
But I love it. I love it. But my gosh.
There is one that, I mean, I had thought about, I might do a playthrough and post it up on the channel of The Night, which is the White Dog Games
Yeah, that looks
version
so
of
good.
Night of the Living Dead, because I did a Twitter thread when I was playing one night, and I just did a Twitter thread of just, what the hell's going on, stuff like that. I was taking a picture and then I was posting up what happened. Well, I started having fun with it, like I tend to do on Twitter, and I think it would be kind of neat to do that in a video format as well, although it loses the snappiness of reading a reading a tweet, on Twitter. It's like she had a shotgun and she kept missing the zombies. Her rolls were shit. Just every time she had it, her rolls were crap. She wasn't hitting anything. And I forget the guy's name in it. But he's just like, the way I wrote it out in the Twitter thread was that she kept missing. She misses again. It's like, Babs, what the fuck are you doing? Give me back my gun. And she gave it back to him, and he owes the zombie. So it was like little interactions like that when you're playing a solitaire game. You can narrate, and it makes more fun, because when I rolled with him, he was just housing everything. He was just crushing the zombies left and right. When I rolled with her, she was rolling shit every time. It was funny because it created a narrative, it had a little story to it, which I thought was kind of fun.
Which is always fun. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
I think I told you guys I started a separate Substack for narrative stuff. So I'm doing creative writing about gameplay, right? So if there's a story there, then I'll write about it, and it's been fun. And I think it's different from writing an after action report or recording a video or whatever the case might be. So hey, Magnus, good to see you. So I am enjoying that a lot, and I can just, because it's not on the blog and I'm not feeling compelled to produce content, I can just sit there and write a line or write 4 lines or take a photograph and just have some more fun with the title and let the stories come out, which has been really, really gratifying, actually.
Yeah. Do you write in the third person? Kevin rolled the dice. Kevin got a 6.
No,
I do. Kevin, the charming and handsome, winsome Kevin.
The notorious asshole rolls the dice.
The notorious asshole rolls the dice. No, I don't. I do different voices, but yeah. Sometimes
before I forget to say this, I've been meaning to mention on one of these old videos, I finally now actually have an Instagram. I started something else besides the channel, so I've been posting previews and ditties and all that crap up there. And actually, a lot of people send me emails about promotions or giveaways or crap like that that's going on. So definitely check up there anytime I get a code or something like that for free paints. If you're into painting or shit like that, I'm posting it over on the Instagram, so you can find ways to get freebies and stuff like that. So definitely check it out on Instagram. Same name, GimpyGamer. All right,
nice.
Self-promotion over.
So now we've got it better. The notorious KEV almost makes him sound like a terrorist.
I'm like a Biggie Smalls.
KEV.
Biggie, can't you see?
Oh, I thought he was saying KEK there for a sec. That's Orcish for LOL. Or Horde for LOL. Did you guys ever play WoW back in the day?
No.
No.
At WoW, World of Warcraft, way back in the day, the two sides couldn't type to each other. They didn't have the same language. So if you typed out LOL, it came out Kek. Right? So the bad guys would see KEK.
That's why Kek became a thing.
Yeah, Kek became a thing, a meme for LOL. Sorry, sidetrack. Go ahead.
What is this mastodon that you speak of? I have seen some people, I think, in all of the silly paranoia that's going on about Twitter. Everyone's thinking Twitter is going to implode like the sun, like a supernova or something like that.
Because Twitter sucks.
And it's going to go away. Well, no, everyone's thinking it's going to go away because Musk took over and we're going to go to Mastodon. It's like, I'm on Twitter when I'm on Twitter. I don't live on it. I just go out there, a couple times a day, read. Okay, great. Here's my content. Boom. And then I chat with
it's not an echo chamber anymore.
I don't know, but I just find it kind of funny that everyone's already peeling out, going to other spaces like they think it's going to go away.
I don't want to talk about politics. Fuck it,
No. I'm saying it just cracks me up. This Mastodon thing.
God bless.
No, I heard Mastodon is like, let's say, an inappropriate site. That there's a nickname. I've never used it. I don't know anything of it, but from what I've read up on it, something about that it's used kind of like how what's that other one called? The video one. OnlyFans kind of like how OnlyFans was
Oh,
created
okay.
for a different purpose, and it ended up, of course, going into a
Right.
dirty direction. I've heard the same thing about Mastodon, but I'm not sure. I've never been on it. So
Right. Well,
explore that one at your own risk.
All the right wingies went off and joined other things, right? There were other sites that they joined, and they signed up for places because it was the end of the world, and the world didn't end, and everyone either came
Exactly.
back to Facebook
That's what I was
Twitter
getting at.
or Instagram or whatever. And I think the same knee-jerk reaction will happen with all the lefties and all the little drama people will have their little day, and they'll all come back because they want to have get their little blue check marks or their hearts or
I don't get that either. The
retweets
blue
or,
check mark.
Dude, who's paying for that nonsense? No. Just do whatever. I
just go out there, read tweets, and go, communicate with people, and that's it. I don't
exactly. I only reason I'm on Twitter is because I can automatically post everything from my blog to it, and I don't have to touch it. I don't log into Twitter at all, ever. So, although I must admit I did log in today.
Instagram's better. You can post
videos, I do the same thing
pictures.
With Instagram.
I don't know.
That's because you want to sit there with your games and make the duck face when you take your selfies, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's what I got.
He cocks his knee too. He cocks his left knee and he does a little pose, sticks his hips out to make his waist look narrower, and puts that beauty filter on. Yeah.
Oh man, that's bad. And make the hexes and counters look better. But
oh my gosh, your hexes are so shapely. How do you do that?
Do these make my hexes look fat? But
you must work out so much.
But I just think it's kind of funny. And in the end, I mean, it's just another way to connect. I mean, if Mastodon's great, then it's great. That's fine. I just don't know anything about it. And I keep seeing people. That's why I was asking about it, because people were saying Mastodon this, Mastodon. I'm like, the hell's Mastodon? I don't even know, because that shows you how little I'm on Twitter compared to other people. Like, I do go on there a couple times a day, check, anybody's messaged me or whatever. And that's it. I don't dive too deeply in that. Plus I have my Twitter feed very curated to where pretty much it's war games. I'm not reading anything else. I'm just there for war game information for the most part. So,
hey, post up meandering Mike's comment.
This one?
No, further down.
Elon Mush.
No, will you paint me?
Will you paint me like one of your X-Men? Nice.
That's great.
Yeah, I like that.
Great.
That's cute. That actually makes me think of Rick and Morty.
Nice. So Meandering Mike says Mastodon socials geared more to communities in the same vein as Facebook groups, but Twitter like. Okay, that makes sense. All right, I see what it is now. I just, maybe I'll check it out. I don't know. I don't know if I want to have time for another, because I have an Instagram I almost never use.
I noticed you're never on there.
Yeah, I'm almost never on there. I just don't. I got so many other things going on. I don't have time to be on there as much. So then the same, like I said, the same with Twitter. There's going back to the game stuff for the holidays. It's going to be interesting to see how much I can get in on these 4 days, because I'm going to try to get as much as possible and try to maybe even shoot a video or two. Are you guys going to shoot any video this weekend?
No.
No.
Saturday. I mean, we don't. I don't get back until Saturday afternoon. We're going to Austin, so that's when we leave Thursday morning. So
okay,
I'm dead till Saturday afternoon.
If I really wanted to stretch it, I wouldn't have to film anything for the rest of the year, and I could still upload content for the rest of the year. I'm kind of way ahead of the game right now as far as what I've recorded. The only problem is I keep getting deadlined. Basically, someone will get something to me. It's like, hey, we're launching this in a week. Can you get something up for us quick? Yeah, I could have done it a lot better if you got it to me a month ago, but I'll do what I can. So that's I don't mind helping people out, but it's like, hey, your emergency isn't really my emergency, and
right.
Poor planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on mine. Is basically,
no planning, no foresight, not my problem. I'll take
I don't mind helping out where I can. But for my vacation time, I take a little time off around Thanksgiving, spend time with the kids. And for the week of Christmas, I take the whole week off just to sit with the kids, play with their toys, do what all we do, you know, the dad thing. Like you set up the toys so you can play with the toys, you know? Last year,
you were supposed to do? Oh.
Yeah, last year I spent a whole day just doing Barbie Dreamhouse stuff. The girls love it, you know. I want my kids to have those memories when they get older, you know. Daddy
Jeff
doing
says
dumb
he's
stuff
going to
like that.
force Vassal learning on himself. You don't do Vassal at all?
He could. Well, he started playing with me and was kicking my ass on some game, and then he said, "Oh, I hate this Vassal," and then left. So he's soft. He's soft like that.
Gotta toughen him up.
You can't do it. He's probably on a PC all day, though.
Yeah. Well, I am too, and I'm on it all night. I'm just used to it, but you do kind of hit burnout a little bit. And Vassal, the hardest hurdle to get over for Vassal is not being able to touch the pieces, and you're so used to sitting at the table and enjoying looking at the entire map in one go and picking up any counter you wanted and stuff like that. And that's the toughest hurdle to get over. Once you get over that, you're fine. It's just like playing solitaire, war games, playing playing two sides as solitaire. That mental hurdle that you have to get over there is, all right, am I cheating myself if I do this? Because I know that I'm going to do that with the other. You just play the best you can for each side, and it's not a compound statement. It's actually the truth, and you just let the narrative unfold. And stop yourself if you find yourself cheating for one side or the other, and say, no, I'm going to do this because of this reason or whatever. Or you try to follow that side's doctrine if you can, if you're lost for anything else to do. And once you get over that, then you're into the narrative, and then it becomes second nature. And then you like to do it and enjoy it. And the way I look at it now is every time I sit down and play a war game, I'm getting 2 games in one because I get to play both sides. It's not just one side or the other. I'm playing both sides. Right. So,
well, that's why Tabletop Simulator is better. You know, in essence, you're touching the pieces. You know, Vassal isn't as intuitive. You know, it's an older system. Tabletop.
But they need tweezers in Tabletop Simulator. They need tweezers that you can use to pick up your counters, and you don't knock them all over.
Simulated cat to knock it all over.
Exactly.
I love flipping the board. That's the best part on Tabletop Simulator.
See, that's what he's saying too, is can't not get over not being able to see the whole map on a table. Now, there is a way that one of the best ways to get over on that is to, on the when you're adjusting the view, the magnification is fit width or fit length or whatever, fit visible. Yep. Fit the width, and if it's a wide table, wide map, it'll fit it all in there, and then you can move around the map easier, drill down into the area you want, and back out.
The other thing you can do is unbind everything, right?
Yes,
so
that's what I do.
He probably doesn't know how to do that. So if you unbind the toolbar, you can just have just the map window up, and then the toolbar will be separate, and you can squish it up to one side and see more of the screen.
Yes, and if you got multiple monitors set up, you can stretch it across your monitors, and that way, when you pull something up, you can minimize it, and then boom, your map is the entire viewing area, which is great.
I was actually going to ask you all about that because I noticed when we were playing the long road, a few weeks back, that I kept having issues, and the screen kept wanting to jerk down on me, and it was almost like every time Kevin started to mess around
because you were following his move.
Was I doing that?
No. You had it set to follow movement of your opponent.
The options.
Yeah, it's in the options preferences.
So I can undo that.
Oh, yeah.
It was driving me nuts because it didn't do it for yours. It only did it for Kevin. And I was like, Kevin, stop touching your damn pieces.
I turned it off, and then I turned it back on, though, because being that I was presenting the game, I didn't want to have the movement happening off screen and people go, what's he doing? So I did turn it back on because it was kind of doing the same to me. I was trying to do something and was pulling it down, but I was like, well, I'm presenting it. So I need to leave it up there so that way everybody can see. So that way they're not lost. What did Kev just do? What move did he do? Why is he bitching? Well, now you can see why he's not happy because the zombies just ate half his guys or whatever. So that is important for that. But when you're playing solitaire, that too. Or when you're playing head-to-head. Anyway. Yeah. And so if you're playing head-to-head, you want to turn it off.
Yeah. Unless that was driving me nuts.
Yeah, it can.
There's a bunch of options in the preferences window. You should check them out. They're well worth spending the time on getting right.
Oh, it is TheGimpyGamer, same as on YouTube. So make sure you put the on there.
TheGimpyGamer. Crayon Munches.
TheGimpyGamer.
Wasn't it Crayon Munches?
You'll see it. It's the same skull icon that I use for YouTube, same image. So
The
you'll know
La
which one
Gimpy Gamer, your international thing. The La Gimpy Gamer.
No.
So is Stigler saying the overview button can be used, and then James says Vassal's great for those of us with limited table space, which is very true.
Yep.
And you can't really see a physical map with any detail all at once either. You have to learn how to zoom. You have to lean in or zoom in to get any useful detail, which is true, but it's more natural when you're just leaning in and boom, I'm there. Whereas when you're first getting used to Vassal, the zoom in and zoom out is not second nature. So you have to learn for it to become more second nature. Once you get to that point, then it's very similar.
Yeah, and also Stigler's not like a wargaming genius like we are, so he can't take in the whole map at a single view. Whereas guys like us, we can just take it all in. Stig and I are actually supposed to play Nacht Paris or Paris Nacht, whatever it is, soon
By VUCA.
Yeah, by VUCA. Yeah, we gotta plan that up, Stigler. I think. Are you waiting on me? Please don't say yes.
Is it
That's
VUCA
it right
or
there.
VUCA?
VUCA. VUCA.
Yeah.
VUCA
Like
Sim.
Sambuca.
Yeah, I really like their stuff. They got good stuff.
They got amazing stuff. Yeah.
They're doing good stuff, that's for sure.
And that's probably why he hates it. He does mapping for a living.
That's right.
So he
That's
probably
What the hell are you doing playing war games?
He's trying to take his day job and turn it into his evening hobby. But so the other thing I've kind of started messing back around with last weekend for the first time in a long time is I picked back up World War II, Call of Duty World War II on Xbox, just playing it by myself, playing through the campaign. And I haven't played that in a while, so I do dig that. Yeah, I kind of dig that. No, not the old World War II, the newer one that they made a couple of years ago. So that was fun because I really dig the zombies. So I'm probably going to go in there and play that myself too, just for grins. It's always fun to play the zombies.
That's some good brain dead stuff, though. That's fun.
Oh yeah. It's
I remember the very
fun.
first time I saw that. I played the Omaha landings, the very first Call of Duty on the PC.
Yeah.
I was blown away. I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
This is the most amazing PC game I've ever played. And then, of course, I got online and, you play with all the little bunny hopping punk ass kids. And they're like, this is bullshit.
Damn campers.
Yeah. I remember play the actual game.
Way back when my dad was playing a first-person shooter game with us, is Call of Duty or Halo, I forget which. We were playing online and we had it set up to where we could hear the voices coming out of the TV. So everyone could hear it since we didn't all have headsets. And we're playing online and everything. And we were a lot better than he was, but he loved playing. And at the end of the match, someone was like, oh my God, what's wrong with, his character's name? And he's like, what's wrong with me? And it's like, does he have thumbs? Because if he didn't have thumbs, we could understand why he's playing so bad.
Wow.
And he puts down his controller and he gets up and he just walks out. And we couldn't stop laughing for hours over that. It was driving us nuts. Sorry, sidetrack. Go ahead.
I would play my kids. I would play my two oldest who were old enough to play on the Xbox. I had an adapter that I could use a keyboard and a mouse. And I played that. We played Call of Duty and some other game. Maybe it was Halo or whatever. And I would tick them off because I could play as good or better than them with a mouse and a keyboard sitting on my lap. And they were doing their little Xbox controller thing. I can't use an Xbox controller to save my life.
I couldn't either at first, but then I got used to it to the point where, because I was so used to old shooters with just using the mouse and the keyboard, that I was just terrible with that. And then I got used to it. And then I also realized that the aiming on the consoles is not as fine as it is with a mouse. So the hit boxes are bigger. So I was just like, I noticed when you watch these videos of dudes like crushing guys headshot after headshot, they're aiming over their head most of the time. And it's kind of funny. So I just have fun. And then what I really enjoy doing is like with the Modern Warfare one is setting up the bots. And I used to love the old, what the hell is that one with the school buses? Hey, Bradley, what's going on, birthday boy? Everybody wish Bradley a happy birthday. Tomorrow he's going to be turning 8. So everybody in the chat, wish Bradley a happy birthday. You're 8 years old tomorrow. Do you feel smarter and older?
Yeah, I'm probably going to be Albert Einstein second.
Okay, come on.
Well, that's
Wow.
cocky. I like that.
Goodbye.
I say thank you.
Love you, buddy.
Tell him thank you.
Thank you.
Did you
Hippo
hear what
buddy.
he said?
No, I
Yes.
couldn't make out exactly
That
what
was-
he said. What?
He said, "I'm going to be Albert Einstein II."
Nice.
That's
Well,
genius.
He is a genius. He's a smart kid.
He's got a lot of happy birthdays here from everybody, and thanks to all you guys for adding in the happy birthdays. He'll watch that on the replay and on his dad's channel and get to enjoy that. But yeah, so like I said, Call of Duty is fun with the bots. The one with the school buses, I forget what the Nuketown, or I think it was Nuketown. I used to love just setting up like 2 bots on my side and the rest of the bots on the other side, just run around, just running silly, just shooting everything under the sun. It was a lot of fun just to play that, because when you play online, it kind of gets a little annoying pretty fast. So unless I'm playing with friends, then if I'm playing with friends, I want to play zombies, and it's just so much more fun.
Did you guys ever play Operation Flashpoint?
Yes, back in the day.
Way back in the day. Way back in
I
the day.
love that game. I was actually in a competitive clan for that.
Oh, you were a
Yeah.
clan. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We need to find out if that's still available. Maybe on Steam.
Competition.
And there's a
Steam. Yeah,
Steam.
it is. I think it is still on Steam.
Can you play that co-op? Because if
Yeah,
you
you
can play co-op,
Yeah.
maybe that'll be another good stream to do one night. Get
Yeah.
3
Well,
of
it's
us.
Arma A now is the one, right? Arma A3.
Arma or whatever it is.
Arma A3. That's pretty cool. But I haven't played that in forever.
Yeah, I haven't played it either. You know,
don't
I
think it has
think
the
I
CPU
have one of
for
them.
it.
I just not played it. I played it very little, but those little Twitch ones are fun, especially if you get to play online with people you know. Then it's even more fun. You know.
That was when I realized that was back in the day before sound cards were good, and I bought a real sound card, and I could hear 360 degrees, and
Yes.
everyone else was hearing 2-dimensionally. So that was when I realized that the kit that you had on a PC mattered, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
good
Oh, yeah.
good mouse, good response time on the keyboard, fast video card, and the sound card, and then you were a rock star. It was interesting.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
one of the good things about wargaming too, though, is you can play it on a brick. It really doesn't matter.
Yep.
Most
Yep.
of those hex and counter war games could be pulled off on your phone with the technology it has.
Exactly.
Any opinion of the P500 for decisive action?
I don't know
Yeah.
that one.
That's the Joe Chacon one, is it not?
Joe Chacon, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very keen to learn more, but
Yeah, me too.
I haven't ordered it yet, but I will be.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for that because it's modern.
It was at Constant World, but he was never at the table.
Yes, because I wanted to see it and I missed him. We both talked about that. We missed him at CSW Dallas, and I was like, Joe, where'd you go, man? You have this thing set up to talk about it, and you're never around.
Yeah,
So
it looked interesting.
it did. It definitely did. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see as time goes on. Maybe we can get him on the show and talk about it in an
that'd be
upcoming
awesome.
show here.
Yeah, but will it actually release? I've got a
It's a-
P500 that's still been stuck there for 6 years.
Which
Which
one?
game? You mentioned this the other day.
Russian campaign?
No, it's I went back and checked. Is Flying Colors.
Oh,
Flying
wow.
Colors
Okay.
on P500 that long?
Really?
I
No.
backed it in 2017.
Flying
Has it made
Colors
its
3rd
number?
edition came out like last year.
Not
didn't it?
3rd edition, the 4th.
Oh, 4th. I thought 3rd edition was.
Yeah, so they've
Still out?
got Flying Colors 1, 2, and 3, and
Yeah.
supposedly they were coming out with 4. And I was like, yeah, okay, I want 4.
What? How many orders?
Hell if I know. I think it's got over 500.
Well, needs
I would be
750. So
surprised
there's your first problem.
Let me see.
It's got to have.
Oh, I mean,
750.
how many it
Minimum.
has really doesn't matter though, because AGN and
Well-
AGS both have over 1,000, and they've sat languishing forever.
Yeah, but they're not ready, right?
Yeah,
If I remember right, it said that it was in art and something. Art
Flying
and
Colors 3rd edition.
If it's in art, that means it's really close. So it's coming.
You're talking about Under the Southern Cross,
No,
Volume
am I?
4. Yes. Under the Southern Cross is South American Republics in the Age of Fighting Sail. That is on P500. Flying Colors 3rd edition's out. That's available.
Yeah, I've
that's-
got Flying Colors. I'm not talking about the Flying Colors main game. I've got the main game.
Mhm.
Right, so it's probably that Southern Cross.
Well, you're
one.
saying 4th edition. It's Volume
Yeah.
4. It's what it is.
Volume
Under the
4,
Southern
whatever.
Cross.
You know what I mean.
762 orders. So
See, there you go. They're over the mark. but it's been languishing. It needs
Well,
to
I
come.
can-
I love age of sale shit.
I can say one thing here because we're going to be closing out here in another couple minutes, but I'm amazed Bear Trap is under 500 orders. I think part of the reason with that is people have canceled their orders because it's taken so long. So I think that's having an effect on that because I know the numbers were up quite a while or for quite a while. And I think they've dropped down because people have just said, all right, the hell with it. I'm going to take it off my thing. It's taken so long. So I think that is one of the issues that can happen with that. And then you've got a Way team that made P500 in a day. So that was to be expected. It's John Butterfield that looks pretty interesting.
Sure.
And it's going to definitely have a draw. But hopefully they'll get that sorted out.
Yeah. If you're Herman or Simonich or Volky, your game will be printed as soon as you crack 500. And it'll probably be ready to be printed. There's a lot of games from a lot of designers that are in there that are being listed that aren't developed, aren't being produced at the pace they need to be. So, and they're kind of the second tier developers.
If you can't get your stuff published, how are you going to become a mark?
Well, I mean, but if you're not ready, that's the point, right? I mean, they have probably a more stringent process than a lot of other publishers.
Yeah. And it's a good point Mike makes is it'll probably jump to the top of the RQ and be printed soon. And that's true because it's going to have a broader audience. It's not like I said, Armed Group North, Armed Group South has 1,000, pre-orders or people committing to it, but at Sex and Counter, it's going to be secondary. This is going to be more open to hobby gamers as well. So it's going to have a wider audience. So it'll speed up the chain really fast, which is, just one of the effects of the way the P500 works.
They should go to Compass and print anything.
What was that, Kev?
It doesn't matter. AGS and AGN are still being worked on, right? I mean,
I thought they were done though. They're just reprints.
Done. The rules, no, they're redoing the OB and updating all the scenarios, and the rules are done because they released AGC finally, and which was a really good release, by the way.
Yeah.
So the reprints that GMT have done this last 12 months, I mean, good. Vietnam and Pacific War and EFS, but there's not a lot of new games unless it's Simonich coming out, right?
True.
War games, anyway. Hex and Counter war games. So,
John wants Thunder in the East redo version.
Good luck. Good luck.
Still waiting on the sequel to that, the Mediterranean one.
Mediterranean. I would love to buy that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's going on with it. Evidently, it's stuck in developmental hell or something. But I think the company being sold and it being transferred over to GMT threw that one back. Otherwise, it probably would have been released already.
Mike saying major rules we were reworking for air and naval for Frank Chadwick's CTO series. No, so Thunder and East second edition will take a while after the middle C, which is going to be the med one they were talking about.
Yeah.
So in other words, you got to buy it on the secondary market if you want it.
Yeah. I mean, it's still available on GMT site, the original.
Is it?
I wouldn't buy the original one. It's not going to. The artwork, I think you're going to see it'll be different when they redo it.
They're supposed to be able to be connected, though, and I think that's going to be a big mistake.
Sure.
Yeah,
if they change up the artwork and everything to where it's essentially different games, you're going to piss people off like me, who were looking forward to the stuff being kind of interconnected. And okay, so I invested in it in the first edition, but now my first edition isn't any good, so I'd have to rebuy it in the new format if I actually want to connect it. That's kind of messed up.
Well,
Stick with the artwork that's already there. I like the original artwork. It was fine. There's
just
nothing
buy
wrong.
Europa, dude. That's what it is. It's just Europa, but it's simplified. How's that? Let's go. Sorry.
So it sounds like we've all got a big weekend ahead of us with not only the food and the food coma, but plenty of gaming too. And everybody out there, I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving, and really appreciate you guys joining us tonight in the chat. We'll be back in December for our annual holiday show, and we'll be then right after that in January is going to be our third year. So we'll be starting off the year on a good note for year 3 or third full year done. So it should be pretty interesting here. See how
Yeah,
that
make
goes.
sure
So,
you guys tune in for December because I got some giveaways set up
Yes.
for Christmas.
we have some gifting like we always do for the Christmas
Gifting
show. So
will
be
happen.
sure, yes, gifting will happen, and it will be grognard gifting. So
Yes.
you know it'll be good stuff.
And Kevin, since he's moving to a new house, is giving away his whole collection
Yes,
to everybody.
he is.
You get a game. Everybody gets a game.
Kev
It'd
is
be
going to
great.
rename himself Oprah for the show, and
Yes.
he's going to be giving out games to everybody. No, but I think it'll be pretty fun, and I hope you guys all have a great weekend. And don't eat too much, but if you do, that's fine too. Just make sure that you get a good nap in and you get some war games in, and maybe try to introduce some new people to wargaming. And main thing is though is have some fun, enjoy the time with your family, and have a great weekend. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next month. And don't forget, on the 30th, we have the finale of our game with Kev, me, and Nate, along with Mark Walker for the long road. We'll see you then. Take care, guys.